Hello everyone, and welcome to the third tutorial on restoring health with NES Health Bioenergetic Wellness System. And today we will be talking about flow of energy. And in NES terms, it's called energetic integrators. Okay, energetic integrators, those are the pathways of energy and information around the body field. And those are the structures or the structural compounds of information that sometimes can be jumbled up. And the classic example of confusion, so to say, of information is the simple allergic reaction in the body. What happens that the immune system misinterprets a common food or environmental factor as a trigger or as sort of invasive toxin. And what happens, it releases, the immune system releases immunoglobulin E, IgE, and that causes the induction of histamine that flushes out this toxin from the body. But the result of that is the classical symptoms of allergic reactions, such as sneezing, coughing, sort of teary eyes, runny nose, and so on. But in terms of bioenergetic perspective and in terms of energy, this is literally misinterpretation of information. And that's what we'll be covering today. Okay. So energetic integrators, they're very similar to traditional Chinese medicine meridians, but not quite, okay? And basically the clinical originator of NES, Professor Peter Fraser, he was a professor of acupuncture and he had his own acupuncture school. So you can imagine he knew quite a lot about traditional Chinese medicine. So he took this aspect of flow of energy via pathways and he brought it further in terms of science. You know that he was the first one, actually the pioneer of mapping the human body field, but in relation to integrators, he was doing matching experiments of what matches what. But let's say in traditional Chinese medicine, this flow of energy, the meridians are based on the principles of yin and yang. But he said, okay, let's take natural health to more scientific levels and let's find the measurement for that. So basically his matching experiments, in his experiments, he was measuring the frequency, okay, of the compound remedy, this energetic character, let's say, energetic integrator, with the certain tissue. But the beauty of all this is that it covers such a broad spectrum of frequencies in integrators, okay, starting from, let's say, elements like simple molecules of proteins, amino acids, building blocks for the proteins, enzymes, hormones, all those messengers, cells, and finishing with emotions and even consciousness. So you can imagine what, like the huge broad spectrum of frequencies that you can actually match dealing with certain pathway of the body, so to say. Okay. In order for you to understand it maybe slightly better, that's what helped me to understand that. That's the analogy that I picked up in one of my trainings with NES. They gave us an analogy of a train, okay, a train map. So it really resonated with me because I lived in London for a long time and I'm very familiar with the London tube station. But I'm sure you can, you understand the network of trains as well. So imagine like trains that go from one destination to another, many trains, right? And they all interconnect. It's a lot of stations in between, a lot of stops. So it's like a whole network, right? So, remember last week we spoke about energetic drivers, the energy strength, okay, which are, for our purpose, the physiological organs of the body, like kidney, liver, lung, and so on. Those are the gas stations, okay, of the body, but there are the train stations, okay, the main sort of train hubs And then energetic integrators, all those pathways or meridians that we are going to look at today, there are just the roads or the routes or the lanes, if you're talking about tube station, from one station to another, okay, or from one destination to another. So basically the train carries this energetic information from one place to another place. And all the stops that are in between from one station to another, they also carry information with them. So in order for the train to come to the final destination, it needs to know the instructions, okay, the proper like navigation system, proper instructions. Okay, from here go to here, from here go to here. The same story is in our body. If our cells get correct information and correct instructions, and they understand what to do, they know how to heal themselves, they know how to rebuild themselves. This is their job. They know how to do it the best. Our goal here is to provide them with the correct information, and in more sort of practical ways in terms of NES health is to unblock the distorted information and give body the correct information. Okay, so now let's look at the scan in more details. Let me share my screen, and we will take it to the different level of more sort of practice. So let me share my screen. Sharing. So you remember last time, again, we spoke about energy source. This is the way for us to exchange energy with the environment. And we spoke about different ways of exchanging energy within the environment, such as diet, hydration, movement, oxygenation, our alignment with the big field alignments of the earth, the circadian rhythms, grounding, and so on. And this is absolutely crucial for the organs to drive energy from the environment. So this is the prerequisite almost to anything else in the system. Then we looked at energy strength last week as well. This is the organs of the body. You see, like nervous system, circulation system, different organs and systems actually. Heart, lungs, muscles, skin, like kidneys, spleen, pancreas, and so on. Those are the hubs, okay, like gas stations, so to say. And because of their certain structure, they are able to cultivate energy from the environment and store it for the future, for the further use, for the later use. And today we're looking at the energy flow, those energetic integrators that I was talking about, which are the pathways of information and communication throughout the body field. Again, if you remember, we have this priority scale here that shows that purple means higher priority for the body, orange it's also quite high, and then yellow, green, and white, which is less priority. Okay, so you can see that in this particular scan, which is my scan for this purpose, I took it as a test. There is some disturbance of information in the first integrator, which is EI1, neurosensory large intestine. And if I click on that, you can see this train analogy. Okay, the train runs from here till the bottom till here. Okay, and all those stations that are listed here, those tissues are matching to the frequency of the large intestine and some neurosensory points in the body in terms of the frequency, okay? And the train stops in all those different stations, picking up information, unblocking some information, exchanging information, and so on. So basically for the train to deliver the information perfectly to the cells, let's say, to the final destination, all those things have to work in order. Now you can see, like in other screens, we saw priorities based on color only. Here, we also look at the numbers. For example, number 4 and 3 is higher priority. It means that this is like big energetic blockage or distortion of energy in terms of information in this area of the body. 2, 1, and 0, it's obviously less. More than that, here you can see, move this a little bit, that we can look at the front of the body, okay? Then we can look at the back of the body. Again, those train station stops where the distortion of information happens. And it also gives us the meridian. This is the large intestine meridian, okay? So let's look at the front of the body again. And in this particular case, I can see that there is a blockage of information in this hepatic flexure field. Also mesentery field, okay, it's number 2 priority. Also ascending colon field, there is some distortion of information. Lymphatic vessels field. So all this needs to be corrected, and all this information, this correct information, is carried in this energetic corrector, which is called EI1 infoceutical. Okay, so what do we do with this information? Okay, we see it on the screen. What do we do with that? So when we go down, it gives us a lot of information about how to cover it and how to help our body to restore this information, deliver the correct one to the cells. So in that case, we will look at, first of all, the sort of qualities and functionality of the large bowel and all the stations that run from here to the end of the large bowel, okay? So basically, we'll look at the functionality of the nervous system, of the frontal lobes, thalamus, and sensory cortex, large intestine function and mineral absorption, ear, nose, and throat, bronchi, and skin, and even emotions. Because you remember, integrators, they cover the frequency, the high frequency of the emotions and the consciousness. So nervous system plays a huge role in the neurosensory integrator 1, okay? And large intestine meridian also associates with that greatly. So it has the lowest vibrational frequency of all the integrators. And in order for us to optimize the function of all those stations that sit here on this train, we need to optimize the function of the large bowel, optimize the function of the lungs, and optimize the function of the throat, nose, and sinuses. So, you know, this actually, the flow of energy in NES scan, this is one of my favorite screens, because there's so much information we can get here. And very often my clients say, oh my God, how does it know? Because let's say somebody suffers from constipation, right? So that's the problem, that problem of the large bowel. But they would never connect the constipation, let's say, with the breathing, which happens in the area of the lungs and bronchi, or the area of the sinuses and throats. The epithelial cells of the nose, sinuses, throat, and lungs, and the bowels, it's the same epithelial cells in between, that they share the same epithelial cells. So if there is a problem in the large intestine, let's say, definitely we need to look whether there are some distortions on this pathway. Okay, so in this case, how can we optimize it? For example, if I would see big numbers in the area of the lungs, I would advise on sort of looking at the breathing patterns to ask yourself a question whether your breathing maybe is too shallow or too rapid due to stress or just to your habits. Maybe diaphragm, okay, it's too constricted, and it pressurizes on the sort of tissues of the abdomen, not allowing enough flow of energy and information down to the large bowels, but also sort of physically puts a lot of pressure on the muscles of the intestines. Okay, so we need to look at the diaphragm, and probably diaphragmatic breathing would be a good exercise to release this pressure and to increase oxygenation and circulation around the body. I would probably in this case also look at the back of the body, looking at the autonomic nervous system field, okay, looking at the spine, because it's a lot of bowel nerve fields that run in this area, and they're responsible for, we talked about constipation, like the symptom of constipation. So we need to release all these, and maybe doing massage, taking my health treatments, doing some stretching exercises. All that can improve the functionality of the cervical spine and spine in general. Okay, what else we can look at in this area? So nervous system, probably mostly the autonomic nervous system that controls involuntary functions of the body, like we talked about breathing, but also digestion and nervous stimulus to all organs. The vagus nerve, vagus nerve runs from the top of your body through all the organs of the digestive systems, and it has a lot of different small nervous branches, okay, that if they're damaged or the circulation is not happening in the right way there, or the person is very constricted and stressed, the information gets disturbed. It's very, very easy. So we need to look at the health of the vagus nerve. We obviously need to consider the structure of the spine. And of course, we need to look at the emotions, because large intestine, in the case of large intestine, it represents our ability to let go and to sort of hold onto different emotions of resentment and anger and those sort of low frequency emotions. And when this integrator gets upset, very often people associate with the emotional distress of frustration, sort of lack of motivation, sometimes inability to rest. Usually people are somehow a little bit more aggressive than usually when this integrator is disturbed. Also, people find it, when it's disturbed, people find it very difficult to let things go, let go of grief. Because don't forget, this integrator, like large bowel, is connected to lungs, and the emotional association, body-mind association for the lungs is grief. So when things become messy in life, it can be hard to see the sort of goodness around us, and that's what people often notice when this integrator gets out of balance. Our sense of self-worth gets a little bit off balance as well, and how we value ourselves and our life experiences, whether we feel satisfied and fulfilled with our daily life activities. So you can see that amount of information that we get from that is just enormous and literally limitless. So after we look at that, okay, we obviously need to go slightly back and look at what, whether it was enough energy in the organs that associate with energy flow, information flow in the body. And you can see in this example, lung showed the priority. And you saw here, right, that lungs, there is disturbance of information in the lung. So if in this screen, we see that lung organ was not getting enough energy, the healing of the lung integrator and large bowel integrator will be obviously compromised. Also, we can connect large bowel integrator with the spleen organ, and of course with the immunity organ, so to say, or immunity system, because again, if you look at it, it runs through the thymus, the immune system center, and it runs through the organs of digestion. And here we can see spleen and immunity. Okay, so on that particular screen, not more, in that particular case, not more priorities were seen, but the bottom line is that you can see that there are different, it's 12 main pathways of information, which are again similar to traditional Chinese medicine. There is a train of the heart and lung. You can see that where this train stops, so we cover those are all matching tissues. The train of the small intestine, see how many stops this train has. It goes from the mucous membranes of in the brain to the appendix field. Then we have the neurotransmitters heart train that stops at all those stations. Lymphatics, bladder, that covers a lot of things here, and so on. Let's take it liver, for example. You see how complex this train is, for example. In this particular case, there are not a lot of priorities here, and that's why it's green. But it just shows the complexity on the body, because let's say in conventional terms, when we talk about liver, right, the problems with the liver can rise when there is microbial infection in the body, when there are general liver function and nerves to lobes of the liver are distorted, and sometimes the vision, like in natural medicine, we usually combine or match. We say that, for example, if liver function is not optimized, usually people will complain on decreased or not optimized eyesight, and vice versa. If somebody complains on deteriorated eyesight, we always have to look at the liver. Okay, so in that case, we will look at whether the person has microbial infection, whether the nerves to the lobes of the liver are working properly. There is no sort of physical damage to the nerves. We will look at the eyes condition of this person. We'll definitely ask the person whether he's protected or not protected enough for against EMFs, because EMF can affect the functionality of the liver cells and tissues. If the person is stressed, excessive release of adrenaline and estrogen, if there is a hormonal imbalances, the liver will be compromised and the eyesight will be compromised. And then emotions, usually people who represent some sort of distortion in the liver field, they resonate with the emotion of lack of compassion, some sort of arrogance, some sort of lack of tolerance. They feel sort of more on edge more often than others. They feel irritable more often than others, and so on. So you can see that the screen gives us plenty of information, and of course, tools of what to do with that. Now, just to summarize, for example, we gathered this information from those three screens. From now on, energy source, energy strength, and energy flow. What will we do with that? First of all, we check that the exchange of energy with the environment is correct, right? So the person's diet is good, the hydration is fulfilled or optimized, stress management is taken into consideration, oxygenation is great, the person sleeps well enough, spends enough time in nature to do the natural exchange of electrons and information with the environment, and so on. Then we will look at the energy strength to see that the organs get enough energy, and if they don't, again, a lot of recommendations will be given here depending on what shows up as a priority. For example, in that case, lung showed up as a priority, so we will look at the breathing, how the person, how is the breathing of the person, whether it's optimized. then we will look at maturation of erythroblasts, because that's what happens in the area of the lungs. We'll look obviously at the energetic component of the person, whether the person feels vital enough, has enough energy, how is the immune system of the person is. So all those things, we will ask questions about that and then give some certain tools of how to optimize that. And then we will look at the energetic flow and provide certain energetic correctors to give, to correct the information, right? Unblock the distortions, neuroinformatic distortions, and allow for this information to flow freely and carry this information to the cells, to their final destination, allowing the cells to heal themselves, repair themselves, build up new cells, and so on. So I hope it gave you some clearance on how to look at that and what it means in terms of flow of energy and information in the body. Of course, if there are any questions, you know how to find me. The best way to contact me is via my email or text, via my phone, all the information on my website. So stay tuned, and next time we will be talking about energetic terrains, which is energetic immunity system of the body. This is very exciting and very relevant topic nowadays, especially after the pandemic and because we are in the season of fall. So just stay tuned, and I will try to get you even more excited next time. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye for now.